Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Airport CEO, and welcome back to Belfast International Airport. Things are going pretty well, I've got to say. We are just over $11 million, despite the fact that we have been spending money like crazy for the last little while. All of these taxiways, all of these runway expansions, and yes, we're going to talk about those in just a second. They cost a lot of money. And today is going to be no different because we have to talk about my runway expansion. Now, I've read your comments. I've seen a lot of comments saying the same thing, which is that if I flip the runways around, we won't have this bunching issue and we won't have planes backing up just like this, which is true. I've tested this, which is something I don't usually do, but I have 100% tested this. I turned on sandbox mode, I turned off simulated construction, and I spent some time flipping these around, changing the taxiways and doing all that good stuff. And you are completely right. Flipping the runways around will work. So that's what I want to start today by doing. I just want to take a second to explain, because I don't know if I did actually fully explain my thought process behind what I've done here. It might be obvious, it might not, but basically what I was hoping would happen is that the game would sort of have these planes just sort of queue up here, which they kind of do. They move up these side taxiways, they kind of queue up, but they also kind of bunch, and it's just really messy. I was hoping that these guys, because they could just flow straight off the runway, straight into the middle here, I was hoping that in doing that, we would, you know, have a really solid flow of planes and it would look interesting. That was kind of the thing I was looking for, was this triple taxiway thing with planes taxiing parallel to each other. It looks cool when it happens. It just doesn't work all that functionally for the planes coming off the runways, and that's kind of the problem. So what we're gonna do is flip it around, basically. So we're gonna get started by going in here, and I'm gonna take out these. I probably don't need to take out these fences, but I'm going to, because I'm almost certain I don't need to, but I'm going to. This bottom one does need to go, because I want to change things up a little bit in terms of these lower taxiways. And I also want to take out this fence, and I'm going to take out all of this guy as well, because I'm going to move those hangars while we are here. And the reason I'm moving them is because I'm also going to move this taxiway to be the same distance apart as these guys, just a single sort of 4x4 tile apart, so the planes are closer together. And it also frees up more space up here for what is eventually going to be our mega airport project, which I'm thinking about, by the way. I'm thinking we might get started with some of that today. My thinking is that we are basically going to have 4 separate terminals. We're going to have a small, in fact, we might do 5. I might do a general aviation terminal as well, which actually, now that I think about it, doesn't need a terminal at all. So we might, yeah, we'll do 4. We'll have small aircraft, we'll have medium, we'll have large, and then somewhere we'll have helicopters. And I want it to be 3 or 4 very distinct buildings. I don't necessarily want to copy and paste everything. And I want to get started with the small aircraft today if I can. So that's going to be the goal. That is going to be the hope. And that's going to be something we will figure out together. Now, what I also need to do is go in here and turn off this runway, and we need to set it to be demolished, because I need to flip it around, because basically what I'm going to have to do here is essentially make that our main active runway while I change all the rest of the taxiways. This is going to be messy for a little while, is what this is going to be, but it will work long term, and it will be good because it's going to make the airport more efficient, and that's really what we're looking for. Now, when it comes to this top part here, we are going to be putting this guy back in right about there, and right about there. We are going to put some taxiways going straight across and straight across, because again, planes are going to be landing from bottom to top on this runway on the right side, so we can just let the planes go through. What we can also do is go in here and say that this is going to be one way, and that this is going to be one way. And then this top one is going to be for medium aircraft. This bottom one is going to be for small aircraft. And we should very quickly be able to go in here and get ourselves a nice medium runway. I'm also going to go with the asphalt. I think the contrast between the darker texture and the ground is better. And I'm also going to rotate the camera, which is something I never like doing in this game because everything looks weird. But to be fair, it's going to help me line this up, which is, yeah, this is just the easiest way to do things. So that is going in the direction that we want it to, which is great. So we can swing this back around. And then what I can do is take out these sections of taxiway because we don't need them anymore. Planes are going to be coming over here, going up, getting on the runway here and here. And then this entire section isn't needed either. So we can take out these sections of taxiway completely. And by the way, most of this middle section is not needed either. Basically, we're going to have a lot of extra space. I could, if I wanted to, and I might do this. When we bulldoze this runway, I might move these guys to be much closer together. Because again, we can save some space here, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's kind of what I'm hoping to do. All right, so with this new runway built, let's go ahead and turn it on. Let's allow small aircraft to use it, and that should let things filter out just a little bit. We do have some serious problems down here, but that's not really the end of the world. We can turn that runway off and everything's going to be okay. The planes are going to be all over the place for a little while here, but honestly, that is completely fine. I'm just going to bulldoze this guy is what we're going to do. We're going to completely get rid of it. And then what I think I'm also going to do, because I've just realized I mentioned bulldozing this middle section of taxiway here. I don't actually need to do that. We can repurpose that when we move this runway over. It's this leftmost section of taxiway that's going to have to go away, which means that this fence up here also needs to go away. And honestly, I'm going to get rid of a lot of this as well. And I'm going to get rid of you, and I'm going to get rid of this guy, this world entrance thing, because I want to move this taxiway up a little bit so it's not got these approach lights on it. It doesn't matter. The game works fine with that, but it just annoys me. So that's a change we're going to be making. Now, something I did notice about the last episode is it felt like most of it took place at night. So there might be a bunch of cuts in this episode so that I'm only doing stuff during the day, because I don't know. When I was editing it, I felt like every time there was a cut, it was a cut from day to me doing a bunch of stuff at night, and then it would cut back to be like, oh, it's done, and it's turning into nighttime. I don't know if it was really bad timing or what it was. What I will do, just very quickly while it's dark, is I want to go in and turn off and then bulldoze all of these hangars, which might be a terrible idea because I'm not necessarily replacing them just yet. But the idea is that I'm going to move these small hangars down next to the terminal. It's also really tedious having to bulldoze them this way. I've never, there's some buildings in this game that are like this. You just have to go in and sort of manually turn them off and then bulldoze. That's a whole pain to do. Can I actually just, I don't know if they are being bulldozed or not. Oh my God, that reset them. Of course it did. Anyway, my thinking for this, I know it's still nighttime and I just did that whole thing about building at night, but my thinking is I want to put a medium hangar down here with access to our service roads. And then opposite the medium hangar, we'll do some small hangars, and we're just going to have a little space down here for all of my hangars. It's kind of that simple. I could put this thing here, but I do want there to be a gap between the hangars and the terminal. I'm also thinking I might leave a bit of a gap between the service road and the hangar itself. We can bring some service road out to this thing because it might just look a bit better to have these sort of on their own, in their own space, thriving. So we'll go here for a medium hangar. I'm very tempted to build a second one. Not that we need it, but it might look kind of cool. I think for now we'll do one because we really don't need a second one. And for taxiways on this, we're going to come out something like this. It is offset on purpose. That's intentional. And then I guess in the middle is where we're going to do our little 5 by whatever section for planes to sort of come down in here. And on the other side is where we can do the small aircraft hangars. So we'll go 3 back. We'll do here as well. They are conveniently sized, which is great. 2 of these is one of those. I do really like that. And then I guess we just go in with taxiway, which on these guys is going to be the full sort of width of the hangars. So you know what? This entire space is just going to be paved as taxiway. I think that's just a little bit easier. All right, so with this mostly built, I decided to put some fences around it just because I thought it would look kind of neat. We do have some problems. We have some bunching issues because obviously we do only have the one runway right now, but I did go in and get rid of the extra taxiway that we no longer need. And what I'm going to do next is basically go in here and start planning out the taxiway that we're going to be wanting here in the not too distant future. So all of this section is going to be expanded up to, I want to say basically the top of the map is what I'm thinking. We're going to bring this guy over and we're going to bring this guy down. And then this part is all going to go away because this will be extended up this way. And it just takes the planes out a little bit further. It gets them around the landing lights, which I think is important. The approach lights, that's the word I'm looking for. And so basically we are going to have 2 spaces in here for planes to taxi off of their runway and then eventually merge. This shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm fairly sure it'll be okay. Down here is pretty much the same story. We're going to be going down with some taxiways right to the edge of the map. We're going to get our little 5 by whatever section, which probably doesn't need to come over this far now that I think about it, because this is going to become a full section of taxiway. So this comes down to about here, which is fine. We will want to build the runway before I get too carried away with all of this, because this section of taxiway will need to come in as well. So a lot of this building is actually going to be a little bit redundant for now. And it's going to stay redundant until I build this new runway. So I guess that's going to be our next step. We'll rotate the camera this way, and we want to go from bottom to top. So in this case, from right to left, and we want it to be in line. So we want to go 1, 2, 3, and 4 right to about there. And that's pretty good. We want to get ourselves the runway ramps, which in this case, man, it is always so tempting. It's always so tempting to use these things, because they do let the planes sort of get off the runway a little bit quicker, but I just think they look kind of silly. I don't know what it is. I understand that they have a purpose. I just can't escape the idea that they look a little bit silly, and so I don't really love using them. But now, what we can do, thankfully, is start bringing our taxiway over yet again. So I think the way we'll do this is just a gap of sort of that 1 tile again. That might be a little bit too close to the runway. I don't remember what it was originally, but I think we're really trying to make things as compact as possible here so that when it comes to building the new section of airports, we're not going to be struggling for space. Basically, that's sort of the goal. I want to have as much space as possible when it comes to building this new airport, the expansion and all that good stuff. So we're just going to see what happens. We want to bring this guy all the way up to here, which is great. We want to bring some taxiway all the way down through here and then straight over this way. In fact, this needs to go further. I've just realized this is all part of a bigger project, which is again to make things a little bit more compact. So this doesn't come over. It goes right down to here, and this is all going to let us have, again, even more of a compact airport, which I think is good. This will still function. This will still be efficient. It just gives us, like I said, more space to play with when it comes to everything else. So that's going to be our new taxiway. A lot of what's built already is going to be demolished, which is totally fine. And the way in which I'm going to have to do that is going to be a bit of a pain, because I'm going to have to put a lot of things in here that say planes can't go certain ways. And it's a bit messy right now, but this is definitely an improvement. And to be fair, this is based on your feedback. So I'm just saying, it was great feedback. Keep it coming. Absolutely appreciate it. But this change would not have happened if quite a few of you hadn't pointed out how stupid my previous design was. And I say that with love. I say that with genuine love and appreciation. And I will hold my hands up and say that when I sat down to record that episode, it had been like 2 or 3 weeks since I'd played this, and I had been sick for pretty much that entire time. At the time of recording this episode, it's been a couple of days since I recorded that one because I remain a little bit sick, but I'm feeling better. I feel like my voice sounds more normal. My energy is kind of back to where it should be. The only thing is that in between some of the cuts in this episode so far, there have been some coughs. I'm at like 95%, man. I'm almost there. Not 100, but I'm at like 95, and I'm okay with 95. Well, I'd like it to be 100, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Progress is being made, and that's what's important. Now, I figure while we're building everything right now, I'm going to start putting the fences back around everything because we do occasionally have animals that are running into the paths of the planes and it's slowing things down. So I figure it's probably about time that we come through and do something about that. So basically these fences are going to do what they always do. They are just going to circle everything, really. Oh, wait. Oh, I have to get rid of this guy before I can do the entire, oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, we'll bring these fences up as far as we can. We'll fill in the parts that we can fill in, and then, yeah, we'll fill in the gaps once the new taxiways are built and once the old ones have been demolished. You know, it's just hit me that with all of the demolition that we're doing, we're getting a lot of money back. So we are relatively quickly approaching $12 million, which is wild given what we're rebuilding, and especially given the fact that the planes are not taking off on time right now. The entire airport is definitely running at a bit of a crawl, but it's working, man. This rebuild I think is going to be great for us. I'm really excited about it. And on the topic of doing things based on your feedback, I did see some other comments about the bird strike prevention system and how we're not doing a very good job with it right now. I say we, I mean me. I don't want to put the blame on you. I mean, you've had some great ideas for this. You know, it's only fair that I take the blame for the stupid runway design and the stupid bird strike prevention system. First off, I didn't know you could add more power to this to increase its range, or if I did know, I forgot. Let's put it that way. So what I'm gonna do is, instead of expanding that one, I'm gonna demolish it, and I'm gonna get rid of this one as well, because we can probably just go in here and build some central bird strike prevention systems. So this one right here can live in here somewhere is kind of what I'm thinking. So like right there in the middle is probably fine. Down this way, we want to go, I want to say here is sort of where I'm thinking. These being really close together is probably not a great idea, but I don't know what sort of the ideal spacing is going to be. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's the 16th tile. And then we'll do the same thing down here. So while all of this is going on, I do want to come up this way and start taking a little bit of a look at what we're going to be doing for the rest of this this land that we have here. So I'm going to turn planning mode on, and I'm going to see roughly what we can do for some basic infrastructure for parking facilities, for buses, and stuff like that, essentially, is my thinking. I do like the idea of having this be a world entrance only. I think that would be a really good idea, because then we can create some sort of one-way system that lets traffic sort of come through and then leave after the fact. So we're gonna want parking spaces. I think that's the thing we want the furthest away from the airport, is our long stay parking. So it doesn't, or maybe it does need some road access. Maybe that would be fair, actually, as we just give each section of parking its own little one-way section of road access. That might not be a terrible idea. I'm gonna give that a shot, is what I'm gonna do. So 1, 2, I don't know if we need to do, yeah, we can do 3. I'm also gonna mention that this is gonna be like the only parking, because people are gonna have to walk from parking to their terminal, and if they're in the international terminal, they're walking the entire way across the map. I mean, look, don't drive to an airport if you don't want to have to walk across the map to get to where you're going. All right, that's the way we're doing this. So what we'll also do is maybe leave a bit of a gap between these. So this will be long stay parking. This can be short stay parking. And again, this is all going to be built in a one-way system. And then over this way is going to be maybe cars, drop off could go over here. Be cars and taxis, and then buses will be closest to the airport. So we'll do something a little bit like this. I think we'll just do a lot of car drop off up here. This is probably gonna be a nightmare for traffic, but that's okay. We will figure that out together. It's also really annoying that they don't fit in here perfectly. That's slightly upsetting. We'll do something like this then, which will give us a bit of an ugly gap in the middle, but I can work with that. Unless we could rearrange some of this to have more regular gaps for people to walk through from the car parks. I guess that's fine as well. I'm kind of just improvising. I don't know if it's obvious, but that seems fine. And then taxis. So that's the next thing. Taxi stops are going to go on the other side here. And then we can have the buses in here, and I do want some subways as well. So we'll do a subway right about there. We will do a subway right about there. And I suppose at this stage, we want to go in with some roads. So the way this can work is the roads are just going to come straight over. They are going to come straight down. And I guess the world exit is going to be down here. This might be a little bit weird. This genuinely might turn out a little bit weird, but I'm kind of hoping for the best on this. I can't change that to be an exit only until it's built, which is unfortunate, but we'll figure that out. So this road's going to loop around. This road is going to come down through here. This road is going to come down through here. These guys technically have, yeah, those are some big sidewalks in between those, so that should be totally fine. And that's basically all the road that we're going to have. That's all the parking. That's probably not enough, but to be fair, this will be expandable if we could like double, triple, or quadruple this little build that we have here. So this might be okay. What I would like to do is plan for some sidewalks. I think that's important. I'm also thinking this entire thing should have been shifted to the right a little bit, because then I can do sidewalks back here, but I guess that probably doesn't matter too much. Now, while I'm doing this, I will say, I know it's not super efficient to have people walking from here to an international terminal. I have been thinking about this a lot over the last couple of days while I've been sick. And man, there's things in this game, or there's a better way to put that. There's a lack of certain things in this game that I really miss. And what I mean by that is, just with the amount of traveling that I've been fortunate enough to do over the last almost 13 years of this YouTube channel, which is terrifying to think about. It's funny, right? Because a lot of the games that I play do have something to do with transport and transit and stuff like that, whether it's transport fever and it's, you know, just this train to the city to this airport makes sense, or it's this game where we're building an airport. And throughout all the years that I've been playing this game on the channel, we've talked about my favorite airports, like Copenhagen. I love. Something that I would love to see in a game like this, it's never going to be in this game because this game is done, is just more ways to get from one terminal to another. And what I realized is that you look at like Heathrow Airport in London, and if you need to get to like Terminal 5, which is I think the domestic terminal, usually, you are basically getting on a bus, right? They'll load you onto a bus that will take you either from your plane. It's a like 10-minute bus ride across the airport to the terminal that you're going to, kind of like the shuttle bus service that we have, right? We do have shuttle buses here at the airport. These guys take people off the planes to their terminal, and we can set that up whatever way we want. Totally doable. But there's no shuttle service between terminals in this game, which is something that Heathrow does. There are buses that are specifically designated to pick people up from like Terminal 3 and take them to Terminal 5 or take you to Terminal whatever. That's something I would love to see in a game like this, is the ability to set up a shuttle system to take people from different terminals. That way, I could build this whole thing with all of my parking right here, and it's no longer an issue, because instead of walking from here across the entire map to get to your terminal, you go to a bus stop. Like maybe not these bus stops, it might be a dedicated shuttle bus stop, but you go to a bus stop. We could put it in the middle of the parking area, especially for long stay parking. We could put a little mini bus station right in here and have some stops that are designated as shuttle bus services to the international terminal across this entire parcel of land. I would love to see that in a game like this. I don't know if that's a thing in Sim Airport. I haven't played Sim Airport in years since the last series on it, so I've got really no idea. But I would love to see something like that. I really, really would. I think it would be very, very cool. And it would solve a lot of the issues that we're going to run into with this layout that I'm doing here, which those issues aren't going to be solved by I mean, I could put more parking in here, but we're going to be taking up more space. I would love to see these developers have another stab at this game and just do those extra little things, because this game is brilliant. I've always loved it. I really enjoy this style of game. We've talked about that before as well. You know, games visually like this, or visually like Prison Architect, or visually like RimWorld. There's something about them I love and adore. This one is no exception. I would just love to see like a couple of little things. That would be like my wishes for a sequel or a spiritual successor to this, or any airport management and simulator. Give me shuttle bus services from terminal to terminal. Or the other idea that I had, and again, I realize I'm rambling, I'm sorry, is let me, this is something I might test, but it'd be very cool if the subway stations also serve that purpose. So it's obviously, it's an external connection to the world. It'd be kind of cool if I put a subway here. Someone could hop on that and catch like a little shuttle that would bring them down here. So theoretically, you could park all the way up this way, catch a subway that brings you down here. I don't know if they do that. I should probably read that. They might do that. Yeah, to and from your airport, it doesn't say. So it's possible. That would be a really cool thing to do as well, but it doesn't do that right now. Anyway, enough ranting and rambling. Let's get to daytime and let's get this all up and running, because the rebuild is done. We're good on that now. And there we go. Aside from some construction that still needs done and some demolition that's not quite finished, this thing is up and running, and it is a fair bit more efficient than what we had here before. So much so that these middle sections of taxiway, we can just get rid of them. I don't have any need for them whatsoever now, which is certainly something. In fact, I'm realizing this little section in here can go away as well. We actually probably want to say that no planes are going through there. And we probably want to do the same thing here, make it two-way, but say that nobody should be crossing over there, because we want these guys to come off and taxi up this way. So those crossover points can be gotten rid of. This entire middle section can be gotten rid of as well, leaving us this entire thing open for planes to just do what they got to do. Queuing is still possible down here, which is great. That's what we're looking for. I will set some one-way things here. Not that we need them, but just because they look kind of interesting. The planes can still queue up down here the way I would want them to. They just, yeah, these crossover points are just no longer necessary, which I guess is kind of cool. So we'll take out you. We'll take out you, and we'll go in, I suppose, and take out these extra sections of taxiway. And I guess we'll take out these middle parts too, is what we're gonna do. We just don't need them, and I can, you know what I've just done? You remember earlier when I was talking about how every single time I start talking about something that we've just done, it turns to nighttime? It's just done that again. It's just gotten dark right as I'm like, oh, we've done this thing. I kind of want to turn off a day-night. I think you can turn off the day-night cycle on this. I actually don't know. I'm not going to find out, because it does mess with the flights. Obviously, the day-night cycle is part of the challenge of this, but it's for me, it's getting to be like playing Cities Skylines with a day-night cycle. It's a really cool feature, and I love, especially in Cities 2, how there's like a simulated rush hour, but man, it's just it's just from like a visual standpoint, and maybe it's more of like from a YouTuber standpoint, it's I don't know, it doesn't make for great television. it just doesn't make for good TV. So I don't know. Either way, the bird strike systems are up and running now, which is great. We can probably go in here and build some of those little lights that I've been talking about, which we can go ahead and put in line with the other ones right about there. They're on the wrong side, actually. Never mind. They they need to go away is what they need to do, because the planes are, wait, yeah, they're landing the other way. Okay, so so these lights can go here and they can go here. I don't know if they should be on the same side. Like, should it be over on the right for this guy as well? I don't know if that matters. I don't know anything about planes. I really don't. But what I do know is that this is much more efficient. Planes are coming and going on time, which is great. We are above $13 million now, which is ridiculous. If we look at the economy and we look at the daily averages, Wow. We made a lot of money. Although admittedly, now that I think about it, just now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure isn't a good chunk of this going to be from like construction? I would imagine, like from refunds and stuff like that. Other expenses, construction, maybe not. Where did we get this money from? Franchises. So yesterday we did $500,000 on shop franchises. Wait, we made more money from franchises than we did from aircraft. I mean, admittedly, 180,000 from passengers does make that up a little bit, but we did 600,000. We have an average over the last 12 days of over $500,000 per day from shops in this airport. I mean, I guess that checks out given that this one has done 15.3 million in the time it's been here. This one has done 189,000, so not that much. If we go and look at our restaurant, 617,000, that's not bad. We have this little shop up here, which is usually quite busy. It's done 86,000, so really not that much. And then the one downstairs, 127,000. So yeah, I can kind of understand how the airport's making so much money off of franchises. That actually makes a fair bit of sense. Anyway, I want to come back up to our new section here, and I want to start working on planning our new small terminal. So back into planning mode, we'll go to terminal here. And I think the way I want to do this is I want to leave some space on either side of this. Maybe not the bottom, that's probably not necessary, but at the top, I want to leave room for people to walk past this terminal to get to the other one. That's fairly important to me. In fact, I wonder, should we build, no, we can't do jetways and small stands. I was going to say we could build most of this terminal upstairs, sort of on stilts almost, and have like staff rooms and facilities like that on this ground floor, but we don't do jetways for small aircraft. So that might be something we do for the medium stand. I think what we'll do here is we'll go for something symmetrical. They're not going to be walking past the bottom here to get to the other terminal because this is going to be airside, but we'll do something like this. We'll go from about here. It really doesn't need to be all that large. So maybe 10 by whatever this is going to be. So 10 by 24 is probably big enough for our small. Yeah, that's more than big enough. I don't know if this is necessarily going to be big enough for. Ooh, what if I want to do shuttle buses? I think I want to try to avoid shuttle buses on this whole thing. My goal with this, very simply, would be to have our entrances in a couple of places. So a nice large door there, a nice large door there, and a nice large door there. I think that's important. I think we could maybe get away with some smaller doors off to the sides. So like here and down this way for baggage claim areas. That might not be a terrible idea. So if we go in with some walls, we could build out, I don't know, something kind of like this, I'm sure is fine. We can build a little something like this. 1, 2, 3. I need a space. I need a 4 here because this is going to be an exit from a secure zone. So that's important. We'll do. So this is the secure zone exit. This is going to be a corridor that brings you back to land side. This is going to be a door that brings you through to baggage claim, which means on the other side, we want to do exactly the same thing. So we want to go right about here, right across here. We want to take out this section and we want to have a little gap of 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying to work this out, man. I think that's what we've done at the bottom there. It absolutely is. So we'll go for some medium doors on this right about there. We will do a nice large door right about there, and we will do another medium door right about there. And this is basically how people are going to get out of the air side of the small terminal. That's that's how that's going to work. So that means that we'll have some way, somehow, a wall going across here. This will be our departures area, which really doesn't need that much space. There's really not that many people that are going to be using the small aircraft terminal. So this should be fine. We'll bring this over. That'll be all right. I don't know if I can set zones in planning mode. Oh, I totally can. That's beautiful. Okay. So in doing that, I guess we will set this entire area as secure. We're going to need a way for people to get into it, which is obviously important, but we'll absolutely get there. This needs to go down a little bit further. And then if we go into security, we want the security exit to be here. And we want another one to be here. And I do want to put some shops in here. I don't want to go too crazy with it though, because we are going to have more people going into the medium building and the large terminal as well, the international terminal. So we want to be a little bit careful with this. But that's probably good for our departures space. We could probably make it a little bit bigger just to be safe. So if we did something like maybe this, that's probably enough room for the departures area. And then security is kind of the trick here. So what if we did another little sort of room down here? In fact, we should probably figure out how big the security things need to be. I don't think we need to go for the medium checkpoints. I think we'll correspond the size of the security checkpoint to the size of the terminal. So this being the small one, we'll go with the small checkpoints and see how many we can put in here. And I guess what we'll do, because we do want a bit of a queue, is like a 12 or whatever this is, a 13 by 14 square or rectangle technically, but a little 13 by 14 something here as well. And then security technically, it's one of those where you have to set it on the edge of a zone. So 1, 2, 3, we could do 4 of these and then a wall. So I think that'll be fine. And I think what we'll do is take off a little bit of this. So a 13 by 8 section comes off of the squares that we built, which is totally okay. We will get our little small security checkpoints. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on this side. And we will do 1, 2, 3, 4 of them on this side as well, which is all right. We can go in with some walls, which gives us a nice queue space. So we'll do something about this size, I think is fine. And we'll do a little something like this as well. So we have like a little space that they filter into and then sort of cut around. We could probably move these forward actually, so the security checkpoints end right in line with this, which I think I would prefer. So because I'm a bit of a perfectionist like that, that is exactly what we're gonna do. Now, I will say my only complaint about this is that we are pushing all of the outbound passengers and inbound passengers to sort of the same corner. So I think what I'm going to do instead is funnel these guys around just a little bit. This is going to give us kind of a weird bit of geometry here with this little like cutaway section, but I think that's going to be better because what we can do with that is sort of just bring them a little closer to the center. It also lines up with this corridor, which is going to get you into the security space. So there's kind of a degree of symmetry with that. And I'm also realizing I can just take this away and we can do that door sort of in line with the wall. So we don't have that weird cutaway space. And I think that looks better. And I think that might be a little better for everything. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not entirely convinced by this, but I do think that's probably a bit better than what we were going to do. So we'll do the same thing over on this side. We'll bring this guy out a little bit. We'll bring this guy down a little bit, put a wall across there, take out these sections, and we will do a little door right there. And we can take out these sections of wall as well. So this part goes away. This door goes away, and then the security zone gets fixed up just like so. So that gives us access to the departures space, which I love. The only thing we're missing now is a bunch of stands in this area, as well as the check-in space. But we're not doing everything today. I will say that's not the plan. We're absolutely not doing everything today. But I would like to get these small aircraft stands in here, and I think we'll go with the concrete on this. Is what we're gonna do. Now the middle point for this building is right there. I'm really not thinking we're going to get that many stands. Oh my God, it fits perfect. Well, if it's 5 of them. Wait. Oh no. Have I done this wrong? I have done this wrong. It's off center. The entire building is off center. Oh no. Oh no. This wall is in line with the back of that subway. This wall is in line with the middle of that. I have to rebuild this entire part. I can't believe I didn't notice. I mean, I'm glad I noticed it now, is all I'm going to say. I am very glad that even if it took me a minute, I did notice it. Because if I built this entire thing and hadn't noticed that, you have no idea how annoyed I would be. Okay, so I think this is pretty solid for a plan for what we can do with this space. I have realized that we are going to need fences across the entire top of this place because we are going to have a pathway that just lines the entire top of this entire thing. You might be wondering why I don't just have people drive down and go to more parking. It's because I just don't want them to. I could, admittedly, go underground with these roads, and we could, admittedly, try and figure out whether or not that sort of thing would work, whether or not having underground parking would be an idea. I want to see if this idea works. Now, my thinking here is that these are going to be 5 commercial stands. These are going to be 5 general aviation stands. And I've gone for slightly thinner taxiways because I'm fairly sure, not 100%, but fairly sure that smaller planes can probably use smaller taxiways. At least I'm hopeful for that sort of thing. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We can thicken them up a little bit, but that's all right. We're going to try it is what we're going to do. So we'll bring this guy down to about there. It's eventually going to go to a runway. But my thinking beyond all of this is that as small as this space is, we have what, 5? We have 8 medium aircraft stands right now. So we're going to need to go a fair bit bigger for the next building, which is fine. We're not going to be doing that today, just to be clear. But the way that'll probably work is... Oh, I forgot that this would be... I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work yet. I haven't quite figured that out. I guess this building, because they're going to have to walk down to it, which might really delay them. I might be setting myself up for disaster here, man. I really might. But I guess what we're going to do is build something up here. And then we'll have a space that comes down and we'll have just 8 of these lining either side. That feels boring. I'm not 100% sure what this is going to look like for the rest of this. We do have plenty of space to make it happen. I want to make sure we at least have 8 medium aircraft stands. Ideally, I'd like 10 of them, so 5 on either side would be kind of cool. But we'll figure that out is what we're going to do. We will absolutely figure that out. We are approaching $14 million, which is amazing news. In terms of our economy overall, today we have done so far, keeping in mind it's not even 6 o'clock yet, 328,000, which is pretty good. And also, do we have more research to do? I'm not 100% sure if we actually do. We do. We have the de-icing permit. This is like the one thing we never do. And I did promise that we were going to mess around with de-icing at some point. So we absolutely will. I'm also thinking we have 14 administrators not doing anything right now, which I guess makes sense. So let's go into staff. Let me go to administrators, and I just want to get rid of some of them, basically. That's kind of where I'm at. So anyone that doesn't have like maximum skill, that was 3. I need to get rid of what, 14 of them is what I'm doing here. So this is, I'm not counting how many I've fired so far. I'm going to be quite honest with you. We're going to need to go back and have a look here. We have 6. So 6 more of them need to go, which is fine. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now all of my administrators are either researching or they're on project groups, which means that when the de-icing permit's done, we fire 5 more of them. And again, we save a little bit of money. We make a little bit more money. This airport's in a really good place. And honestly, despite the fact that we're 12 episodes into this series, we're just getting started. Like realistically, we are just getting started. This is the planning for our small aircraft general aviation space. I'm excited for this, but I'm also realizing this, I might need to plan this entire thing before we let it get up and running, because I can't reasonably split service across 2. Well, I could set this up as a terminal, I suppose. In fact, that might be what we have to do, is set this entire thing up as a terminal. Yeah, let's do that for now. let's figure that out and and see how it goes. So Terminal 1 is what this is going to be referred to as, which is totally fine by me. We can just extend Terminal 1 to just about cover everything in here. Everything inside those fences is going to be considered a part of Terminal 1, which I am completely fine with. So we'll extend this out as well, right to the edge of the map. We'll extend this right to the edge of that fence, and same story right here, all the way to the edges and corner of the map. So right to about there. So that is all part of Terminal 1, which is good. So that should mean, I think, that everything sort of stays contained within Terminal 1. This is going to be Terminal 2, which is good. This could be interesting. We might end up with an airport that doesn't actually have a Terminal 1 by the time this is all up and running. I'm also realizing that technically I can assign these guys to a terminal. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't think I'm interested in doing that. Although it could be interesting. It could be interesting. I don't know. We're not going to do that right now. It's totally fine. Not connected to other terminals. That's all right. It will be. There will be a way for people to get to that terminal. I don't want that little thing flashing and complaining, telling me that there's no way to get there though. So we're just going to clear out the terminal for now, which means that little complaint will eventually go away. We've also completed all of our research. So we'll go into staff, and unfortunately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are fired, which gives us, if we have a look into our operations and research and development, we should have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 administrators across all of these group projects down here, which is totally fine. So we should be saving just a little bit of money, which is great news. That's what we're looking for. Anyway, as the sun rises for once on a on a busy airport, we're gonna leave it there for today. I'm really happy with where this airport's at. I am thinking what we might end up needing to do is let the game run at 3 times speed while I'm planning the rest of the new airports, so that I might be able to just turn off the entire airport, cancel all the flights, demolish all of this, rebuild the new, or not rebuild, but build the new airport, open it up, and potentially not deal with the fallout that tends to come with the addition of another terminal. We've talked in the past about this game's pathfinding getting a little bit funky from time to time, which it does do, and admittedly my old runway layout didn't help with that. It gets particularly bad when you start introducing large flights, multiple terminals, international check-in and stuff like that. So I'm hoping to mitigate a little bit of that, maybe by just turning my airport off, canceling all flights, and seeing what happens with that. That's something I'm thinking about. We'll see what happens. If I do decide that we're going to do that, then I think what'll happen is, yeah, the next episode, probably a lot of planning, probably a little bit of construction, and probably ending with the airport being turned off so that we can build things. We'll probably have it all built between some episodes. So the next one will be the planning, and then the building will be between that episode and the next, so that we don't have, you know, there's no point in me sitting and recording the whole build process because it's not all that exciting. So we can just come back in the episode following that with the newly built airport. We can put all the infrastructure into it and we can get it up and running. So we're not far away. It's actually going to be a relatively quick process to get this new airport up and running for you. For me, it's going to be many, many hours, but that's okay. That's what I signed up for. That's the job of an airport CEO. And speaking of airport CEO, that is going to be doing us for this particular episode of Airport CEO. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. It has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.